This is Algebra 1 with Mrs. Belyakov. Today's lesson is lesson 84, solving multi-step absolute value equations. Let's recall what an absolute value is. An absolute value represents a distance, the distance between a number and zero on a number line. But thanks God, because there are no distances between him and us. That's a note I wanted you to read. Let's see example number 1. It says solve, of course, for the variable. The idea is to isolate the part where we have the variable with the absolute value. So that means I'm going to get rid of the 3 using inverse operation. With here we have an addition. Inverse operation of addition is subtraction. That means I'm going to subtract it on this side of the equation. Absolute value of x divided by 5 equals 18 minus 3. Let's simplify that part. So absolute value of x divided by 5 equals 18 minus 3, 15. The 5 is dividing. Inverse operation of division is multiplication. So the 5 goes on this side of the equation, multiplying the 15. Absolute value of x equals 15 multiplied times 5. Absolute value of x equals 75. Now, what this tells me is that there is a number inside that has a distance of 75 from 0 to the 75 on the number line. So that number is either x equals 75 and x equals negative 75. Let's do a mental check with both of them. With positive 75 first. Absolute value of 75, 75 divided by 5, 15. 15 plus 3, 18. Let's do it with negative 75 now. Absolute value of negative 75, 75. 75 divided by 5, 15 plus 3, 18. So both answers are correct. Let's go to example number 2. The idea, as I said previously, is to isolate the part where we have the variable with the absolute value. So that means I'm going to start eliminating the positive 4 using inverse operation. Inverse operation of plus is a minus, right? So 5 times the absolute value of x divided by 2 equals, let's move this to this side of the equation, 4 minus 4. Now 5 absolute value of x divided by 2 equals 0. Now the 2 comes to this side of the equation multiplying. So 5 absolute value of x equals 0 times 2. How much is 0 times 2? Correct, is 0. But we still have a 5 multiplying the absolute value. So let's isolate it. Isolate x. Absolute value of x equals 0 divided by 5. Absolute value of x equals 0. So the only number that has a distance of 0 from 0 is the same 0. Let's do a mental check to see if that's true. Absolute value of 0, 0 times 5, 0. 0 divided by 2, 0. 0 plus 4 equals 4. So that answer is correct. Let's see example B. Remember, the idea is to isolate the variable with the absolute value. Yeah. Let's bring the 3 to this side of the equation, subtracting. So 2 absolute value of x divided by 6 equals 1 minus 3. 2 absolute value of x divided by 6 equals negative 2. The 6 goes to this side of the equation, multiplying 2 absolute value of x equals negative 2 times 6. 2 absolute value of x equals negative 12. Let's continue here. Now the 2 comes to this side of the equation, dividing. Absolute value of x equals negative 12 divided into 2. Absolute value of x equals negative 6. We have gotten to a point where I cannot continue, because here it says absolute value of x equals negative 6. And we read at the beginning that an absolute value represents a distance, and there are no negative distances. So when I get to a point where it says absolute value of a number equals a negative number, then we can write that there is no solution, because there are no negative distances. Let's see the last example. In this example, we have an operation inside of the absolute value. Notice in the previous examples, x was alone, x was alone, x was alone, and now x has an operation with it. So let's see how it works. I'm going to bring the 14 to this side of the equation with inverse operation. So I'm going to bring it adding. That's the first step. 6 absolute value of x plus 3 equals 10 plus 14. Let's add 6x plus 3 equals 24. The 6 is multiplying the absolute value, so let's bring it dividing. X plus 3 equals 24 divided into 6. Absolute value of x plus 3 equals 4. Notice that now we have gotten to a point where we have absolute value equals a number. Remember at the beginning when we split the 75 into a positive 75 and a negative 75? That's what we're going to do now here. I'm going to rewrite it here on this side so that I have more space. Absolute value of x plus 3 equals 4. So I'm going to split it, just like in the first example. X plus 3 equals positive 4, and x plus 3 equals negative 4. Now you can see it better. I split it with positive 4 and negative 4. That was all. Let's isolate the x on both sides. The 3 comes to this side of the equation with inverse operation, which is subtraction. So x equals 4 minus 3, x equals 4 minus 3, positive 1. X equals negative 4 minus 3, x equals negative 7. So let's do a mental check on the original and see if we got it right. Let's do it with positive 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Absolute value of 4, 4. Times 6, 24. 24 minus 14 equals positive 10. So the 1 is the first right answer. Let's see now with negative 7. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. Absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4. Positive 4 times 6, positive 24. 24 minus 14 equals 10 positive. So negative 7 is also an answer. Let's do a check here. And that's all. See you next class, guys.